it's time to start thinking about a transom shield cutout. And lucky enough, over the winter I bought myself these brand new hole punches. I hated doing these holes in gaskets and such. This has been so cool. And just put pow pow, it's done. Well, time to move on to the transom. Little odd starting out a new day at night, but that's what was needed this time. Either that or I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and come out here and do this, which would just be odd all by itself. So I just waited for dusk, got out my laser level, probably the 1990s sometime, and we are trying to find what is exactly level. I am going to start working off the chines. I'm going to do these 2 chines, and then I'm going to do down to the next line down here, the next chine, and see what lines I get. I'm thinking that they were off by a millimeter or 2, which is not so bad, but I could also be off by a few millimeters also. But this will definitely mean what is level with the boat. And we're going from chine to chine across, and then we're going to hit that next chine again. Like I said, we'll definitely have 2 parallel lines to work with. And from there, we should be able to do the cutout square. At least that's the plan. Alright, if we can turn the sun back on. Now, that's the way you start a new day. We've got our lines. They look a little crooked right now because the boat actually has a tire going down on this side, which makes it kind of sit a little crooked. But our lines are level to our chines, as we did in the darkness. And then I decided I was going to not even trust myself or what was in the boat before or anything anywhere for anybody. And I went online and I got myself a template. This is actually a Volvo 280, 270, and pretty much probably all Volvo Pentas. Cutout, including, the beautiful part is this is the part for the 280T, which that makes this one hole very easy to find. And that's what was going to be different between my jury-made cutout there of what they already had. Not only that, but the 280T has a little bit more, needs more relief. But I do remember that when I actually put that in my 19 over there, that there was some actual trimming. It wasn't necessarily any real cutting, but there was some trimming, we'll put it that way. And the only thing I'm not really keen on with the whole cutout here is this. I see that they kind of square these off, and if you look at mine, it has this dog leg here, and I've already been trimming on it. This actually fits over the transom shield that we have in the garage, and it leaves this dog leg here. Now, I'm not going to do anything as extreme, but I am going to leave a little bit more meat right here and right here. And as you can see on the original cutouts, you know, they're almost a little tiny thing up there. I'm going to leave a lot more than that so our steering arm can move around. But I think this template, along with laser leveling the actual hull itself, is probably going to be the best Volvo install ever happened to a Allmand SuperNova. I'm pretty confident in this. We'll see when I actually go to put the transom shield in how confident I am, but until then, it's time to do some marking, and lots of marking. And we've done an insane amount of measurements, an insane amount of this, and second guessing has been going on for days on whether I want it lower or higher or this or that. Mine's perfect in my boat, so I am putting it exactly where it is in this boat. But I didn't want to get the outdrive cocked in a tiny bit away or anything like this. Laser leveling, this pattern with actual lines on it for leveling and all that good stuff, it's going to be really hard to screw up. And I'm hoping that I don't. Starting to feel like a seamstress here. Pattern's on. Now, who's going to be the first one to make a cut? Sadly, I think it's me. Nice, 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 nice. We got some cleaning up to do, but it was a good cut. Stayed away from my holes. That one's a little tight. That one's a little tight, but that's no big deal. It took 2 blades, but we butchered it out. Next, I'm going to use my disc grinder down here to clean up all the edges and get it ready for some glass to close it in. So we got everything cut, ground, rounded our inside edge. A little hard to tell from the outside here. Look how thick this transom is. That's about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch down there. I mean, this thing's enormous. But long story short, we're now going to soak this up with some resin, and then we're going to glass all this in all the way around. I'm pretty positive that's the right cutout because I've never cut out one that big. And it fits pretty perfectly on the shield itself. So we're just going to seal it up and hope and pray till we get ready for paint, and then we'll actually fit it in and make sure it fits perfectly before we paint it. For the first time in a while, I actually accomplished what I set out to do for the day. My whole day this was priority 1. Get the hole cut, get the holes drilled, especially those 2 outside ones. Those are for actually trim lines that go through the transom, and they got to be right on or the seal won't catch it right and you have a leaky transom, and that's not good. Got everything sealed up all the way around inside, and even have gone as far as to pull out my Rage here by Evercoat. I really like this stuff, Rage Ultra. I mean, that stuff spreads so much like butter. I mean, it doesn't pull. It's amazing. It's really great stuff. And of course, nobody is sponsoring me, so I've decided that what's going to happen with the transom, of course, is it's going to take phases, and I'm going to go over it and I'm going to fill it like I would drywall, and basically go over everything once or twice, a couple different directions. Then I'm going to wait a day or so before I actually sand it out. It gets, you know, when you start sanding heavy like that, you get a little gummy and stuff, and I ain't going to bother with all that. I got other things to do. And speaking of that, there is another project, another major project that has to start, and it's underneath of that tarp. So I'm just going to finish up the evening by doing another coat of Everclear here. Rage, I love the name, Rage Ultra. And call it a night. Come back and attack it tomorrow, as I said. Maybe do a little sanding, a little rough sanding off, and just, you know, finite coat. And I'll tell you, the truth is, man, when the old saying goes, if it ain't right, paint it white. Because the sun was setting over here, and it was going across the transom, and man, did a lot of things show up. You know, it's hard to see, but like here, there's like a bunch of these little things all over the place. Here's another one. Yeah, so, and they're just impossible to see in white until the light actually shines across this way, and then it's like shadow, 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 shadow. So there's a lot to fix still. But, well, you looky here. That looks like a single inboard outboard. Not a dual, for sure. Let's take a look inside. It also looks like a single. Whatever happened to the duals? They're all gone. So cool. Alright, back to seriousness here. We have run out of large projects, and that's not a bad thing. As I said, we did the stringers, we've done the transom, we've done the cutout. What's next is this guy here, and I'm perplexed on what to do about it. I really want to take the skin off, but at the same time there's some seat nudges in there that need to come off. There's a section missing up forward. Of course, this whole giant cutout here. I'm really not sure how to go about this, but we definitely have to see the gas tank. And I mean inside, outside, upside down, the whole 9 yards. Because there's absolutely no way we're putting this boat together with a bad gas tank in it. Or one that could fail. So I guess today's goal is, even though we've gone from 65 degrees as a high 4 days ago, it is now 95 degrees. I I think today is the day we're cutting the deck out. Boldly going where I've never gone before. I've taken some airliners and such out with, you know, Donzies, but I've never had to like butcher a boat up just to look at a gas tank. Yeah, it wasn't the end of the world. Once I got this edge up on the glass between the wood and it was already kind of delaminating a little bit because it's been exposed to the weather. First I wedged my pry bar in down there and I got it on a little bit. Then I'd put a block in and wedge a little more until I could actually get a 2x3 in there. And then I just started driving the 2x3 in, you know, one on side by side, and just going down and listening to it snap, crackle, and pop as it was going. I mean, it just wasn't like just beat it in until it breaks. It was pull it in and you'd start to hear it going and start getting ready to pop, and then you'd hear it pop on occasion, you know, where it actually is broken loose. And then you drive some more, and it was just basically I was using wedging to wedge the whole plate right off, which worked out great. I ain't gonna say it would work out all the time, but I mean, that's pretty solid plywood over there, and it came off of it. This, on the other hand, well, you know, most of it came up with the actual board itself anyway, so not saying it's the right way to do it, not saying it's the wrong way to do it, but it's my way. My 19 has the fisherman inner liner in it, so there's actually a hatch that you can just unbolt or unscrew 6 screws and just lift it right out, and the whole gas tank sits right there in the wide open and you can take it in and out at will. This one's a little different, that's for sure. And we got our fiberglass out. I know it seems a little ass backwards to do it this way, but I'm trying to actually save the fiberglass, and there's reasons behind that. One, fiberglass is extremely expensive. And two, I want to keep that hatch of some kind in the floor for access to the fuel tank. At least you need access to the sender and such like that. I mean, if the tank's intact, we're gonna coal tar that big boy, and we're gonna get rid of the foam that's around it, because that's the Achilles heel. I think it's probably ruined just because there's foam around it. I haven't got that deep yet, but we'll get there. But we definitely need a hatch, and I'm not going to create that hatch. I'd rather just cut it out and stick it in and then fiberglass the whole new deck around it if I have to. But I'm going to try to see what I can salvage of this, because like I said, fiberglass is extremely expensive. If I had to buy some patio blocks to put it down with, you know, so be it. I mean, it's a whole lot cheaper. I mean, to replace that deck in fiberglass, rough estimate, about $350 worth of fiberglass. Maybe 400, and then by the time you're talking about shipping, yeah, now you see where I'm going with this. So after reaching my goal for the day, because that's what it was to get this deck up in one piece, next of course I have to take all the wood out. It's pretty odd on how some of it came up a lot shorter than I thought it would have. We're probably going to make it a little tighter than that when we replace it, and then like I said, we have to get to this gas tank and look at it 100%, pressure test it, see if it's got any corrosions, anything like that. If it does, it's out it goes, and a new plastic tank will go in its place, because you're not replacing these.
trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest
This is why you never put foam around a gas tank.
or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding.
Never.
Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness,
I mean, seriously, look. Look down there. That water's 4 inches deep. I don't know about this tank now. I'm real nervous. I know these tanks are almost indestructible, but man, I tell you, with that foam packed against that like that for years. Well, we have found design flaw number 1. As you see, we got a drain back here. You think that's right on the other side of this bulkhead right here, but you can't even find it. It's too far down right now. But down here about 5 or 6 inches, there's a pipe. It runs under the gas tank from front to back. So they thought about keeping water out from underneath the gas tank, but they never thought about how to drain the box itself out. That's a major design flaw there, because there was actually a hatch in here, so whenever you wash the deck off, of course, water would go right into here. I'm sure this was from day one. And look at all this big saturated foam. I mean, look at this stuff. That's a little stiff piece. Of course, I had to find the hardest piece in here. And look. It's just like crazy. Don't ever put foam around your gas tanks. Block them in, let them have plenty of circulation all the way around, and let them be. Well, I made it to 8 p.m. and this is where I'm going to stop at for the night. As we can see, we've got the deck out. We've done a first clean, which that means basically sweeping everything out and getting all the debris out, and even doing a quick shop vac. It'll get cleaner as time goes by, as more and more projects go by, as you know, we start filling in and fixing things. I will get an opportunity to complete, I guess would be the best way to say it, my stringers on their ends, which it wouldn't have hurt anything, but you know, cosmetically and in the back of my mind, I want it that way, so we're going to do it that way. And in the process of shuffling everything around, we got our deck laid out upside down here. We went ahead and took the seat pedestals off. We're not going to use those anyway. We have seats, but we don't actually have the ones that those pedestals are actually made for. There's a lot of cleaning off. Like I said, if I have to split this thing into like 10 different pieces and put it down like floor tile, I'll do it that way. But somehow this guy's going back in, including our hatch cut out. And tomorrow, we got a couple ideas on how to try to get the tank out of there. I know it's wedged in, and it's wedged in to stay, but it's got to come out. We got to see the bottom half of it. With all that foam, all that water, no drainage over those years, this thing could be just as full of water that was packed in around it than it could be anything else. So tomorrow, that's our goal. Well, it's officially closed. It looks ugly on the back, but after a good sanding, it's not going to look nearly as bad. The transom is all closed in. This thing's water ready. I should water ready. It's seaworthy. How's that? Still recording? I guess we are. Neighborhood Association garbage. Post this on the website that you provide for free.
But like just looking at the sides, it's like, oh, that's good. I don't bad at all.
Technically, there's supposed to be one hole in this whole top, and it's where the rear cleat goes. Well, 2 holes too for the vents, but 1 hole for the cleat, 2 vents, and that's it. And yeah, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It's 25 holes between right here. got out my laser. So I just waited till dusk, got out my... So I'm just starting to feel a bit like a seamstress here. My pattern's on. You guys done now? Okay. Break time. For the first time in a while, I've set out to accomplish... I don't know if I shot this already yet or not. So I'm going to do it again. And if I did it before, I'm an idiot. And if I hadn't did it before, then I'm a genius. Wait for my dog to start barking. Alright, back to seriousness here. Let's get rid of that Alright, back to seriousness. This may be supplemental in someplace. Got some more to do. Got lots to do.